Hi, you've been a few to ask me lately about the process behind the picture Peace and Tranquility to Mars. So I thought I'd give you a quick tour of the world machine process I've used to produce these pictures. I also have here the MobileStudio Pro by Wacom, and I thought it was a good opportunity to test its strength when it comes to handle heavy 3D scenes. So with a 16 gigs of RAM, an i7 and a Quadro graphic card, it's already stronger than my previous laptop, so let's dive in and see how it works for us. So, I have a wireless keyboard here. It's much more convenient to have the shortcut when you work in 3D. And most of the time I use the stylus to work on the MobileStudio Pro. So first, let's take a look at World Machine. It's a software that allows you to generate natural looking landscapes. So most of the time you can generate a base landscape with some Berlin noises or some more advanced noises. Then you usually modify them with some filters. Here you can have a terrace filter, which is kind of making a stepping in the elevation to make some more layered kind of landscape. Then you can add some erosion. This is one of the best nodes in World Machine. It allows you to make some erosion on your terrain, and really it helps to smooth the result of the procedural you could have combined before and blend them together. It's really efficient. It's just a very basic scene, but so far it runs very smooth on the MobileStudio. So before to show you the final tree, let me introduce you to some concepts I've used to create this project. My starting point is an elevation map from a 3D file I created. And I just remap the maximum height of the terrain I want for this elevation map. Once I have this terrain, I can add an erosion, for example, just to make it look more natural. So here you can see the erosion base duration that makes the effect more or less pronounced. You also have some presets here that you can use as a start point. But of course it's not gonna be just as simple as adding an erosion. As you can see, it's looking too much distorted here, and we want more control on the look of this scene. So for that I can open the elevation map in Photoshop and paint some masks on top of it to make some zones of action for the operators to act. So here I'm just roughly painting some areas to protect the character, for example. Here it's very rough, and it's just for the example, and you most of the time you want to try them, refine them, and just find the look you want for the mask, and depending on the operator you are using. So let's just save this mask, and we're going to use it in World Machine then. So back in World Machine, we can grab a file input and go and grab our previously saved mask. So as you can see, it shows it as an elevation map, but it's basically 0 and 1, and when you plug it into the mask input of an operator, it's gonna affect the weight of the erosion. So as you can see here now, the part that we've painted are protected by the mask, and the other ones are eroded. But here our mask is too sharp, and it's stopping the erosion at once, so you can, for example, blur it. So you can just put a blur filter in between, so it will soften the effect zone of your mask. Okay, but here it's not enough to have just a basic elevation map from a clean 3D mesh, so we want to merge it with some advanced Berlin noises to make it look more natural. So let's grab an advanced Berlin and just change the size of it, just to make some small details on top of our mesh. So we can just grab a combiner and combine the result of our two inputs. Here I just put it in average mode and make it a low strength, just to make some small perturbation on top of the 3D mesh. So it's gonna help to make some nicer, more interesting erosions. Okay, so obviously our mask is not nice enough. It just masks too much of the area. So let's go back in Photoshop and edit the painting. So I just take the eraser and start to remove some areas of the mask. And it's basically gonna be a back and forth, tweaking your mask, saving again, testing again in World Machine, and doing this back and forth, finding the proper value based on what you want. Here we are just making a rough example, so the scene is not looking nice, but you're gonna see how I approach the thing in the final scene file. So once you are happy with your terrain, what you usually do is you want to export your mesh and export some maps also. Here let me show you one of the best map of World Machine. The output of the erosion is a flow map, where you can see where the sediment have been flowing on the erosion. And it's a really nice looking flow map. You can use it to map some shaders in your rendering engine. You also have this wear map and the sediment deposition map. So you can all use this different map to mask different sand or water or different kind of rocks. So then you can just use a bitmap output and choose where you want to save it and which format to write it. As for the terrain, you can choose the mesh output and plug the output of the erosion into the mesh output. Then you can choose what kind of reduction you want, like a simple mesh reduction. It's gonna decimate your mesh to a given amount of triangle. Then you can use different options like the extension and UV exporter and whatsoever. So here you can see the result once you compute the result of your node tree. Here it's pretty low resolution, but for the final project we are gonna end up using much higher resolution. So here is the final look of my node tree. I'll run you through each node, but first let's compute the result of each node. The nice thing with World Machine is that when you compute all the nodes, it stores the result in high resolution for each operator, so you can just visualize the effects of each of them separately. So here it's computing pretty fast. It's not as fast as on my workstation, but still pretty decent. Here I'm computing just at 1K resolution for the preview, which is pretty fine for a preview already, but we will end up using 2K or 4K resolutions for the final output, and it's gonna take much longer, of course. So here is the preview of the 1K map. It's looking pretty nice. Anyway, the preview here is not gonna show you more than 1K, I guess, so you have to export the map to see higher results. So here is the basic input of my elevation map. I will add a few bumps just to blend the body a bit more into the ground, because the parts where there is too much contrast in the elevation, you start to see some artifacts. So here I just masked some areas to put some blur. You can see here the mask. So you can see here the body starts to blend a bit more into the ground already. It will simplify the process of the erosion afterwards. Then we just add a few more detail with the purling noise. So I just reduce the amplitude of it and merge it with the body. It will make some more interesting erosion happening if the base surface have more detail. So then I make the mountains around the character. So I just make an erosion to make them look a bit more interesting and put some curves to crop some mountains. And then I put a mask around the character just to have mountains around him. So with the combiner then, I just combine the result of my input. So I felt like the back of the character was a bit missing a connection with the ground, so I had an extra mountain here. So it's just to show that it's very art directable. You can add another purring noise, put another process to make another look for it, and just mask the result and combine just a small area of the two sections. So here you can see I just had mountain on the back of the character. Then I put an erosion on top of everything, just to blend the result of the different inputs. And I put a mask just to preserve some areas of the character. So you can see the masked area are not affected here. After that I add a terrace filter to make this kind of stepping in the elevation of the ground. And I make a procedural mask this time. So I just start from a Perlin noise that I remap and combine with some end-drawn mask to define the area where I want to have this stepping. Then I put a strong erosion just on the edge of the map, just to be able to blend them easier with another terrain later in Maya. Here I make a custom mask based on a height mask and combined with a end-drawn mask. To end up the tree, I just make another erosion on top of everything, just to blend all the result together. And once more I mask it in an area I don't want to see destroyed. So like I showed you before, then you can just output the mesh with the given amount of reduction you want, all the maps from different erosion. Here I just use the final erosion and the first ones, which are the one defining the most the look of the terrain. You can combine these maps together or just use one or the other. You can choose whatever you want. So here we have the mesh, we export it with the UVs, so you can just use all the maps to drive some shaders on top of it. So that's basically it for World Machine. The rest of the project is mainly about texturing and shading, and I guess you can find a lot of resources online about these topics.